Okay, welcome student. So today we are going to see enzymes. So what are the enzymes? Enzymes are the biological catalyst which will enhance the rate of the reaction. So when we say enzyme, it is generally assumed that it will not alter the equilibrium of the reaction. So whenever explaining enzyme, we are going to see this diagram, right? This is a reaction coordinate diagram. So this one is a reaction coordinate diagram. So what it has, so it is a progress of the reaction we are showing on the x-axis, and the y-axis we are showing the energy of the reaction. Okay, so this one is a reaction coordinate diagram, and here are our reactants. Okay, so here are our reactants. This much is the reactants energy, this much is the product energy. Okay, so how much is the pre-energy of reactant? Pre-energy of product. So reactant has a higher energy than product. So this is an exothermic reaction. You can say it will progress spontaneously. When we say exothermic reaction should progress spontaneously. But being a spontaneous reaction, it does not mean that reaction will be faster. For example, sucrose, you are keeping sugar. Okay, sucrose, our table sugar. This sugar, if you are putting on the table, it will ultimately break down into the glucose plus fructose. Glucose plus fructose. But will it be the faster reaction? So this reaction will take too much time. So on the human life scale, so it won't be feasible. It won't be used for our body. So what body has devised? Body has devised the mechanism, enzyme mechanism. So what happens is that this reaction can produce very faster in milliseconds. Sucrose to glucose plus fructose breakdown can happen very faster. So enzyme are employed there. So this enzyme, it doesn't alter the equilibrium, means this reactants and product energy, it remains same, but only when reaction is progressing without enzyme. For example, this reaction is producing like this. So red line, you follow the red line. So this red line, it is producing like this. So without enzyme, this height of this bell-shaped curve is higher, and if you are adding with the enzyme, this bell-shaped curve is lower. Means without enzyme we have higher bell-shaped curve, and with enzyme we have lower bell-shaped curve. So this height of this is decreasing. So what is the enzyme that height? So already we have seen the difference between reactants and product, that is delta G. Now there is another concept. Whenever we are seeing the enzyme, we see the concept of activation energy. So what is activation energy? So if you take reactants, from reactant if you draw one line, and if you draw one line at the height of the curve, so with this curve, so this much is the activation energy with the enzyme. Okay, so this much is activation energy with enzyme. If you are drawing without enzyme, so from this line we have to draw, so this much is a activation energy. So this higher line is a activation energy without enzyme. Okay, so this higher line is the activation energy without enzyme. So without enzyme, this activation energy is higher, and with enzyme, this activation energy is lower. So whenever we say enzyme act as a catalyst, so basically what enzyme do, it lowers the activation energy. So this height, it was previously bigger, so the reactants, though the reactant has a higher energy than product, it has to go through this activation barrier. It is like climbing the mountain and coming down. So what is happening? We are creating a tunnel like this. So this can be a lower height. Okay, so this height can be lower. So that is the activation energy basically can be lowered with the help of the enzyme. So whenever we are saying we are discussing the enzyme, the concept of activation energy, you should keep me in mind. What the enzyme does, it lowers the activation energy, and basically sometimes this state, it is called as a transition state also. State for enzyme substrate complex. Okay, whenever enzyme substrate complex has to form this transition state, so basically this is transition state. It can be easily done when enzyme substrate complex forms. So that is why this activation energy gets lower. So that was the concept of enzyme. So without enzyme, A plus B can combine, and it can form C plus D, but this rate of reaction is very slow, so we don't want without enzyme reaction, we want reactions to go faster. Okay, we are always interested in the rate of reaction, how fast something can go, right? So already we have many things which can act at a particular time scale, but we want things to get faster. So like in the case of enzyme also, we have A plus B. With enzyme it can easily give us C plus D. So that is a concept of enzyme reaction coordinate diagram and how this reaction coordinate diagram works. So now we have seen the enzyme, what is the enzyme, what is the activation energy, right? So next thing we have is a factors affecting enzyme action. So how different factors can affect the enzyme action. So whenever we talk about enzymes, so we should think in the direction like whenever enzyme is involved, what is involved? So enzyme is involved. So enzyme itself, can it its concentration affect the enzyme activity? So that is one factor. So next thing, whenever enzymatic reaction is there, substrate is involved. So can substrate concentration influence enzyme activity? Second factor. Third factor, enzyme reaction has to occur in the particular temperature, then it will be optimum. So can temperature influence the enzyme activity? Next, all body things has to occur at particular buffer, at particular pH. So can pH affect the enzyme activity? Next thing we have is a different cofactors like magnesium, manganese, calcium, cobalt, copper. Can they affect the enzyme activity? So these all things, whenever we say enzyme activity can be affected, we have to think about in the direction that which factor can affect the enzyme activity. Basically we are seeing what is happening. So what is happening, what all things are involved, based on that we can talk about how enzyme activity can be affected, right? So we are going to talk very diagrammatically enzyme factors affecting enzyme activity. So first thing, concentration of enzyme can affect the enzyme activity. So on the x-axis we have taken enzyme concentration, on the y-axis we have taken the enzyme activity. On the right hand direction, enzyme concentration goes on increasing, and upper as you go up, this enzyme activity goes increasing, right? So whenever more enzyme is present, more the enzyme activity is present, right? As you increase the concentration, so concentration was here 1, so enzyme activity was 1. If concentration is 2, enzyme activity is 2. 3, so here you can see dot here. Enzyme activity concentration is 3, enzyme activity is a 3. So likewise you can interpret. So as the enzyme concentration increase, enzyme activity increases. So this is a linear relationship. Okay. So whenever enzyme activity has to increase, enzyme concentration can be increased. One of the factor affecting enzyme activity. So this was the first factor affecting enzyme activity as a concentration of enzyme. Next thing we have concentration of substance. Can substrate concentration can influence the enzyme activity? Okay, we have enzyme plus substrate combining and we are getting enzyme substrate complex, and basically this complex is breaking down into enzyme plus product. Okay, so as we increase the substrate concentration, we have, for example, numerically we can't compare, but suppose 10 enzyme we have and substrate we have only 5 in number. So if you increase 5 more, this reaction can happen faster. Okay, so that is why this as the substrate concentration increases, enzyme activity increases here. So this is a linearly increasing. But what happens after like 10 concentration? So both matching, so this activity will not increase much further that one. So exactly Vmax you don't get, but this will become the hyperbolic curve. So substrate concentration, whenever substrate concentration increasing, this activity will increase, and after a certain substrate concentration, the enzyme which is available in the system, it will get utilized. So once that available enzyme is getting utilized, so what is happening? So this curve is becoming flattening. Okay, so this is a hyperbolic curve. So this one relationship of a substrate concentration with the enzyme is a hyperbolic, because as more and more substrate you are putting, it is combining with more and more enzyme. One point will come, at a given concentration of enzyme, substrate won't have an enzyme to combine with it. So this activity won't increase any further. So it will become plateaued. So okay. So this one was a effect of concentration of enzyme substrate on the enzyme activity. Next thing we have effect of temperature. Can temperature affect the enzyme? So we all know that at lower temperature enzyme won't work properly. Enzyme need a particular temperature. For example, us body temperature is 37. So at 37 we expect that most of our enzyme work properly and nicely. That's why we are functioning properly. So what happen? Enzyme activity, if you plot a degree Celsius 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 on x-axis and enzyme activity on the y-axis. As temperature was lower, enzyme activity was lower, now it is increasing. Body temperature is increasing, now it is 37, okay, the enzyme activity is higher. So this is a optimum temperature. Optimum temperature for this enzyme. Okay, so for us, for example, it is a 37, for example. 37 degrees Celsius is the optimum temperature for most of our enzyme. For example, hexokinase will function properly if it is a 37 degrees Celsius temperature. And then what happens? As the body temperature increases, the enzymes are protein in the nature, they will try to denature. So they will denature, they will lose its function. As they lose the structure and function are very connected. If they are losing the structure, they will lose the function. So that is why this enzyme activity goes on decreasing as you increase the temperature. So that is about the effect of temperature, this one. But there are some organisms like they live in the Yellowstone Park National Park. So this Thermus aquaticus, this bacteria can live at the 72 degrees Celsius at quite higher temperature. So this has adapted its enzyme, so it can function at the higher temperature. So if you are taking enzyme of Thermus aquaticus Taq polymerase, it will act at the 72 degrees Celsius also, and at 95 degrees Celsius also it won't lose its activity. Okay, so the different organism has different evolutionary strategy. Based on that strategy, it may modify its enzyme to become stable at particular temperature. For us, we have 37 degree homeostasis, so our enzyme will like to function at the 37 degrees Celsius. So that is why we have bell-shaped curve. Okay, so our enzymes temperature follow the bell-shaped curve, and our bell-shaped curve's optimum temperature at the highest point comes at the 37 degrees Celsius for most of enzymes. Okay, so that was the effect of temperature on the enzyme activity. So how enzyme activity goes on increasing as you increase your temperature up to certain extent. Now next comes the effect of pH. So we know that hydrogen ion concentration is important. If you are putting too much hydrogen or too low hydrogen, so the pH can range in the 1 to 14. So if you see this pH, this is a acidic, this is a basic pH, and this one is a neutral pH. 7 is neutral. Below 7 it is a acidic, above 7 it is a basic, at 7 it is a neutral. So these are the different pH ranges. So what happens is that our enzyme also like to function at different. So we have different system, like we have gastrointestinal system. So what happens in the gastrointestinal system? We have pepsin enzyme. Pepsin enzyme encounters very low pH. So this pepsin enzyme has adapted so that its optimal pH fall between the 1 and 2 pH range. So this enzyme can function at the lower pH. Other enzyme we have trypsin. It can function at the quite higher temperatures, higher pH between 7 to 9. And most of our enzyme, because our body pH is around 7.34, so it will function at this range between 7 and 8. It will come the optimum range. So this higher range we call it as a pH optima. Okay, so how pH optima works? So this one is the highest crest of this bell-shaped curve is a pH optima. So this is the effect of pH on the enzyme. So we need a particular pH. Till that pH is reached, our enzyme activity may increase, and once that pH is we call it as optimum pH, and once above that pH, enzyme activity won't increase any further. Next we have effect of activators. So we have different activator like magnesium, manganese, cobalt, copper, sodium, potassium. These are the different ions present in our body and the body fluid, and these have effect on enzyme activity. So once we have to increase the enzyme activity, so these are sometimes acting as a cofactor. So once they are binding with that one, then only enzyme will function properly, right? So that is why effect of activators is important. You have activators, so enzyme activity will increase in that case. So that's it for today's lecture. So basically we have seen what is enzyme, how it lowers the activation energy in presence of catalyst. Activation energy lower, if catalyst is not present, activation energy is higher. Next we saw how enzyme activity can be affected. It can be affected by the concentration of the enzyme. As concentration of enzyme increases, enzyme activity increases. Enzyme activity can be affected by substrate concentration. As substrate concentration increases, activity increases up to a certain extent linearly, and then it becomes plateau. So it becomes hyperbolic curve. That is effect of substrate concentration on enzyme activity. Then we saw effect of temperature on the enzyme activity. How temperature can, particular temperature can have optimal TM for that enzyme. So optimal temperature at which enzyme have a particular higher enzyme activity. Next we saw effect of pH on the enzyme activity. How particular pH, our body pH will have, most of enzyme will act at the pH 7.34 for example, or sometimes different gastric compartment, the pH enzyme acting can have a lower pH optimal, like pepsin between 1 and 2. And then we saw the effect of cofactor, potassium, magnesium, sodium, then manganese, magnesium, cobalt, copper. So how these affect the enzyme activity? Because they are required for different enzyme, so they may increase the enzyme activity. So that will depend on the which particular enzyme require the which cofactor, right? So that's it for today's lecture. Thank you.